you, by the way, for taking the time to speak with me. Really appreciate it.
No
Uh,
problem.
it at first the label said 1 p.m. and I was like, "Are you talking European time or Eastern time?" And I was concerned I might have to wake up at 4 a.m. to interview you.
No. I told him like after like 6 p.m. for me because I'm working during the day, so that wouldn't have worked anyway.
Yeah, same here. But also I don't mind taking an hour out of my day to fiddle around with stuff like this. So I have that flexibility, thankfully.
Oh, that's
All right,
cool.
well, we can dive right in. I have a list of questions to go through here.
Go for it.
Um, all right. Well, so you just released uh, Gloom and the Art of Tribulation on the
Mm-hmm.
6th of last month. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to touch on kind of what the fan reaction has been. You know, it's had over 72,000 views on YouTube and 79,000 views on Spotify. And I personally really dig the intro, and I think it's a great starting track to an EP. But what has the general reaction been?
Generally, it's been really, really positive. So, I mean, we've not really gotten any bad feedback on it. So that's kind of cool. I'm sure they're out there, but also, to be honest, I don't give a fuck. I'm not looking. So, it's we're happy with how everything turned out, and I think that's still the main reason for you to play music is to also do stuff that you're happy about. And no, generally it's been really positive. The label is very positive about it too. So it's been a challenge to get the EP finished because we kind of did it in different stages, but we're very happy with the results.
Yeah, you guys did a pre-production with this one as well, just like Terrorizer, right? Did you guys break into similar grouping, or was it just kind of everybody in their own space?
No, I mean we wrote the tracks during last year, and then we recorded the drums first, and then everything was kind of like spread out through the summer. We did everything during last summer, but we had so many summer festivals, and the schedule was so fucking hectic that we just had to record it in different parts, and then it took a while to get it mixed and all that stuff. So I think that's why it was frustrating for us in one way because we just wanted to get it done because we're used to start something and then a couple of weeks later everything is done. But we did the drums at the beginning of the summer, and then I think we actually finished the EP. I don't remember when, to be honest. It took a while.
Yeah. So Serpent of Depravity and Funeral Malediction are the other two tracks on this EP, and they kind of touch on, Art of Tribulation. It touches on, suffering, and then Serpent of Depravity touches on moral corruption a little bit more. And then, Funeral Malediction goes into like evil and destruction. Can you talk a little bit more in depth about the thematics of this particular album? Or, I'm sorry, EP.
About the lyrics, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like was there
Yeah.
something that you drew from specifically, versus some of your other material that just kind of stood out to you for this particular writing process?
Well, it's funny bit is that Funeral Malediction was a track that we had for Terrorvision, but we chose not to put it on the record and keep it for the EP. We had like a whole lot of songs that didn't make it to Terrorvision because not that we didn't like them, but the album that we delivered to Century Media was over 60 minutes long, and they felt it was too long and wanted to trim it down to 45 minutes. So we had to cut a bunch of stuff. Funeral was one of those, and it didn't make it on the record, not because we didn't like it, but mainly because internal band politics, democracy, votes. Everybody wrote a bunch of songs, so everybody wanted to have a bunch of their songs in there. So there was a lot of that going on. So we put the song on there finally on the EP together with two tracks that we wrote right before the summer. So concept-wise, the first two and the last aren't linked. Gloom and Serpent are linked, and they're actually sort of cathartic, dealing or talking about stuff that I've been dealing with for the last 2 years. So it's kind of ways of me, and this is something new where I really took personal stuff and put it in Aborted songs. This is something that hasn't happened before, and I guess it was necessary in a way, you know. I had to do it, and I'm glad it's done.
And this EP also features your new guitarist Harrison as well, correct?
Yeah, he recorded the rhythm guitars to Serpent of Depravity. Yep.
Awesome. In an interview a few months ago, you had mentioned that the EP was essentially going to be a prelude to a full-length concept album, possibly later in 2020 or early 2021. How's that going? Are you guys still working on it currently?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of writing. So I think we have a lot of work still ahead of us, but you know, with everything that's happening right now, I think now is the perfect time to focus on writing because there's nothing else we can do. But yeah, we're busy. We already have the concept, the title. We even already have the artwork. We're just still working on the music, and I think we'll record probably early next year, or maybe end of this year. It just depends on, you know, everything that's up in the air right now.
Is Mitchell Nolte doing your artwork for the next one, like he did for La Grande Mascarade?
No, we have Parolofsson that worked on the artwork. We had Mitchell do some stuff too, which we're going to use as well. But the main album cover is going to be done, or is actually done by Parolofsson.
Nice. Okay. As far as writing, you kind of touched on how Terrorizer had, bits and pieces from everybody in the band writing, different things. In general, who does the main songwriting in the band? Is it an even effort, or is there one member that writes more heavily than the other?
I'm gonna have to correct you, and it's I wasn't sure what you meant, but it's Terrorvision. Terrorizer is the band, I guess.
Sorry.
That's all good.
Terrorvision.
Terrorvision actually, I think about 70 or 80% of it is Ken's writing. We were all involved, but Ken definitely did the bulk of the writing, and there were a bunch of songs where Ken and Ian worked together, and then I think maybe 2 songs were written by Mendel still. And on the new EP, actually all the songs were written by Ken. So for the time being, Ken's been a very, has had a lot of impact on the writing. And I think for the new stuff, everybody's chipping in right now. So it's going to be a mix of everybody.
I mean, you guys haven't really even released, a bad song, let alone an okay song. Everything's been pretty stellar that has come out in the last, over the past decade. So
Thank you.
I don't think fans are going to be upset with anything else that you guys churn out. I did have a question from a local vocalist from one of the bands that I follow out here, and he wanted to ask about your vocal style. He wanted to know specifically, you have a very distinct voice. In the world of death metal, it's so difficult to not sound cookie cutter. So who influenced you, and how did you achieve that sound? Is there specific warm up that you do to get that extra oomph?
I obviously have my influences, but to get to sound like I do, I just try to do my own thing. I wasn't so much trying to copy people. Obviously when you start out, you have people that you're looking up to, and of course you have your influences, and you're gonna try to go towards that. But I think it's just more, even till this day, like I try a lot of new stuff, and a lot of times that's influenced by something I hear that someone else is doing. But I always try to, like, how does that work with my voice, rather than I want to sound exactly like that guy. And I think that's the best advice you can give to a singer is just try to explore your own voice and what you can do with your own voice. There's plenty of people that sound like other people, so why not try to sound like yourself? My influences when I started were pretty basic. It was Frank Mullen, which is, I think, still one of the greatest singers that has ever been in death metal. There's Jeff Walker back in the day, and Bo Summers from Ill Disposed on the old stuff. Like his vocals on Submit were ridiculous. So yeah, those were my three main influences for sure.
Great. So I did recently see that there were, I want to touch on the upcoming tour here that's supposed to start on the 14th. But I did see that some of the dates were beginning to be canceled. Is the tour, the North American Mascarade, going to be postponed, or is it being canceled altogether?
Yeah, the tour's canceled. It was part of the Napalm Death tour that we were gonna do, and we decided to cancel the whole thing. I think Napalm Death might be rescheduling to do just the festivals that they had later on, but to be honest, I mean, don't quote me on that. I don't know what they're planning on doing, but from our side, I can say that the whole tour has been scrapped, and we won't reschedule.
As far as impacts that the COVID-19 pandemic has had, obviously the tour cancellations, a super bummer. But what else is it doing as far as an impact to the band and your daily lives?
Well, for us, it's I guess in a way there's not that much difference because we're spread out over 2 continents and a bunch of countries and states. So we've always worked remotely. We've always done this kind of shit. So I think it's more on a personal level where, I mean, Stefano's been in lockdown for forever now because he lives in Rome. And I've been in lockdown now for 3 weeks here in Belgium. So we don't go out unless we really have to, just, shop groceries. So, just what everybody has to deal with. But on a band level, I think Ken had an experience where he was filling in for Decapitated on their tour, and they had to go home when everything started happening. I was worried for him because he was still in the UK when everything started. Everything just spun out of control in like 24 hours. So it was good that he got a flight back when he did, and that he's home safe and he's healthy. So I'm very glad that he got out and he's safe. But everybody else is just, staying home, staying safe, just trying to work on the music as much as we can. And of course, we're planning future stuff. But I think anybody who's being a little realistic knows that we're planning. But is it a certainty? I don't know. We'll see,
That's fair. It's definitely an interesting time right now. There's one last thing I wanted to ask you about, and that was about your guys' hot sauce.
Okay.
You guys, I'm actually a really big hot sauce fan, and I know that a lot of metalheads out there that are fans of Aborted have been asking how to get a bottle of this stuff if they can't make a tour date. And now that the tour is canceled, will this be going up on one of your online merch stores?
The problem is food regulations. Selling this kind of stuff online, especially over continents and all that, is very tough. We've talked to several businesses. We've talked to Indie Merch. They're fine to do it, but the problem is the guy that makes the sauce cannot ship them outside of Belgium, Holland, and Germany. Our German merch company is not licensed to sell food, and hot sauce is considered food. So it's a bit tricky. It's going to go online, but it'll only be able to be sold in, I think, Belgium, Holland, and Germany through the guy's web store, Dr. Wurst, who made it.
So what you're saying is people need to find a friend in Germany
And
or one of the
send
other
you a
countries.
bottle.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything, but that would be a solution. The problem is it's very hard for us to get that cross continent. So unless we find a new partner in the United States to do it, maybe we'll do it when all this stuff cools down, because the reaction to it's been great. And I'm sorry that we can't get it over there, because I'll be honest, I love hot sauce, and it actually turned out really, really good. So
I
yeah.
mean, you said to prepare our assholes. I was just like, yeah, that is going to be the shit. I'm fucking down.
Oh
But
yeah, there's a lot of peppers in there, and it's ghost chili, so it's good.
it's some good shit. All right. Well, that is all the questions I had for you. I do apologize for the terrorizer thing. I was just editing a live footage video for them and
No
wasn't looking
worries.
at my notes.
It's all good. It's
Uh,
I've had a funny one too, where a girl was interviewing us, and she kept asking weird questions. I was like, what the? Something's weird here. And this is when we had Retrogore out, and all of a sudden she drops the name. So your new album Retrograde, and I went like, wait a minute. She thought she was interviewing the band that did Retrograde, which is, I forget their band names, like some emo band. So all of the I forgot their name, but the hilarious thing is that all of a sudden all her questions started making sense, and I thought it was hilarious, and I don't think she ever realized she had the wrong band.
Yeah, luckily I do my research. I like to read through previous interviews and make sure I'm not asking the same question you just answered last week. As much as I possibly can. Obviously if something's not published, then I have no visibility. But yeah, very sorry for that.
Yeah, no worries. You did fine.
I actually own a copy of TerrorVision, so I've been a fan for many years, and so I was excited to have the opportunity to even interview you guys.
Thank you. Well, I hope you get to hear all the songs, and that you dig it, and hopefully new album in 21, and we can get on the road again.
I definitely do dig the additional tracks. Century sent them over to me. I'm longing for more though. 3 just isn't enough for me.
Yeah, well, there's plenty more coming probably when we release the album next year. So keep your eyes
I will
open.
be pre-ordering it. I will keep my eyes open and post the shit out of that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
No problem. Have a good day.
Stay safe, stay healthy. You too.
You too. Bye-bye.